itself is quite interesting, isn't it? There's a Volvo Ocean Race.
The first leg of the Volvo from Alicante to Cape Town is often the toughest leg in many ways.
The days building up to a departure, you are absolutely, your brain is already out there. And it has to be, because you can't wait for the start line for that to click in.
Probably the biggest thing is actually the first few hours of the race is when you first really line up against the opposition, so you first get a feel for whether you're going to be fast or slow or whether it's going to be even.
For me, I think leg one is the best leg of the race. I think it's got a great combination of sort of tricky start to get out the Mediterranean, fantastic downwind, tradewind sailing, some big tactical decisions in terms of how you handle the Canaries and how you approach the doldrums. I think anybody who's been on board a Volvo Ocean 65 in any whim will tell you just how important it is to have the right clothing. Being able to use Gore-Tex, of course, is, well, it's not really an advantage, it's an absolute must as far as being able to protect ourselves at sea. We're delighted to have Musto clothing. They're clearly the top clothing supplier in the world.
It's a shakedown leg in many ways, but boy, can it be a shakedown.
There could be no wind, you could have a mistral, it could be really hard, it could be very rough. But then sometimes when there's no wind, it's the hardest of all because you're doing so many sail changes trying to push the boat as hard as possible. You then squeeze out through the Gibraltar Straits and you're out into the Atlantic where everything changes.
Once you're finally out the Med after a few days, then yeah, your mind's firmly on the Atlantic and how you get to the equator.
The equator basically is known for having no wind. It's the boiling point of the Earth, so the big clouds go up and the air rises, and when that's happening, the wind is mixed up or no wind. And trying to find the place to cross could mean that a boat that's last could come out first.
As you sail from one hemisphere to the other, you've got to get through this sort of wall of light winds. And the way you do that is using the rainstorms and the clouds and the sort of thermal activity, which creates enough wind to kind of bumble your way through.
You don't want to be stuck in them, because if you get stuck in them, rain and air coming down, there'll be no wind and you could be left sitting there for quite a long time.
You can do it in absolute misery, or you can have fun being miserable.
There's a lot of joking and camaraderie. I mean, there's plenty of time out there. You know, if we were stone-faced the whole time, you know, I don't think we'd go very well.
One particular area which always gets a lot of attention is the equator crossing ceremonies.
We've been told that King Neptune is coming aboard.
If you've got through the doldrums in good shape, then relatively smooth sailing. Cape Town's off to the southwest, but if you turn the corner immediately, you'll find yourself in the middle of the St Helena High and or going upwind all the way to Cape Town, which is not good in any boat.
Anything can happen arriving in Cape Town. It could be 50 knots, no knots, and anything you can be sure of is it's not what you expect.